All right, we live on location, y'all. Me and Black are here in Orlando, staying our ass at home. And we got our OG, triple OG, Jerry Stackhouse, live on location from Vanderbilt, Nashville, Tennessee, y'all. Honor and privilege to have you, OG. Y'all chilling with the head coach of Vanderbilt University. Stack Dollar, OG.
Well, you getting a little gray in that beard, ain't you, boy?
Look at him.
Yeah, man, I'm getting a little old.
Brought to you by AT&T 5G.
The first question we ask everybody when they come on is, when you first got to the league, who was the first person to bust your ass?
The first one to bust my ass probably was Spree.
Spree.
He put me in, got me in some pick and rolls, boy, and was
hard right
out.
He went hard right in.
Was time out. Was this Golden State or New York Spree?
Golden State.
Ball head Spree.
Oh man, bro. Hey, PJ Carlissimo Spree. That's who that was right there. Yeah. So, nah, man, it was. I guess probably one of those first moments I had was Alvin Robinson though. When he was up in Toronto, it was toward the end of his career. And man, I had that ball in triple threat position, and he just grabbed that joint. I'm like, oh man, where am I? Welcome to the NBA, young fella.
You went to school in North Carolina, high school in North Carolina, but you transferred and went to Oak Hill. Why you transferred, leave your school and go to Oak Hill?
Man, one of y'all point guard, Jeff McInnes, man, he was a major recruiter back then, man. J Mac, man, he was like, I played with him on the AAU team, and it kind of got crazy, man, back home, with a whole lot of, just the recruiting process, just getting bombarded, calls all the time at home, and, the other little knucklehead stuff going on at the crib, folk accusations, all type of stuff, man. So I just thought it was a good time to kind of get away for that last year. They were playing a national schedule, going to Hawaii, Vegas. Since I just I wanted to play against the best of the best. I pretty much accomplished everything I could accomplish in North Carolina.
Oak Hill up in the mountains. Ain't nothing around Oak Hill. Like, was that a culture shock? Like, leaving everything?
It was, bro. It was like I drove up there the first time, and I kind of came in the back way. I didn't even come in. I turned on a little street called Oak Hill Road. I thought that was it. So I came on the back of the campus, riding through cows and everything. So I was like, oh, man. But it was just the basketball, that environment of just being with, talented players every day, just working out, getting better. From an academic standpoint, it was a little bit of a step back. I felt like I pretty much repeated what I did as a junior my senior year. But that was cool. I was salutatorian for the class because I knew everything.
Straight up. Could there have been anybody else outside of North Carolina?
I had a really good visit up in Virginia. I got up there and saw, a lot of those affluent blacks on campus, coming down there from Northern Virginia. I was like, man, this could be a cool spot. The guys were a good vibe, but going to Oak Hill that year really made me want to come back home because my family couldn't really get to see me play as much. So I, getting back home and getting a little closer was important to me for that, for college.
How was it for you and J-Mac to both choose, Chapel Hill, UNC, when you talk about how you guys had already played AAU, then he recruited you to come play in high school? How was it for both of y'all to sign letters of intent to go to UNC together?
Man, it was big time because I knew I had a partner that, I competed with, and I knew, how to find me. We had really good chemistry together, on the lobs and stuff. So, he was I feel like the best, alley-oop passer I've in maybe ever.
Truly.
Man.
We didn't been on we didn't receive a few of those.
A lot of them my rookie year.
Yeah, you know Jay, man. But I think it was a little tricky there because I think they had offered Randy Livingston, and there was a little bit, and he was delaying his process, so it wasn't like he was able to commit right away. And then when Randy, committed to LSU, then we locked it in. So we knew, we had a little mob coming in.
One of my favorite highlights in college history is when you went to the other side of the rim and Duke, and then after you dunked with the air one shaking your head, like every time I see that highlight, it just brings back so many memories. Can you go back to that game when y'all playing Duke? Because I know the rivalry and it's just so hype, and for you to go on the other side of the rim and
man, that's one of those games where you're going to do something, want to have an out-of-body experience, and I think that was it for that game. It's just so electric in there. I mean, the fans are right on top of you. I mean, we heard about it for so long, being a part of this rivalry. And, and J-Mac, again, get that outlet pass.
Kick it up.
Hit ahead. And next thing I know, I'm just, putting that thing in my right hand and got to the baseline and man, the rest is history. And I always was kept it kind of calm, man. Coach always said, act like you've been there before, but just that moment, I got a little bit. I was trying to control myself, but it was, it was a hype moment for sure.
How was it for you to be a part of like that type of a tradition, and then not just be at one of the blue blood, traditionally big time schools, but putting on for like y'all were a powerhouse in y'all time, like you, J-Mac, Shammond Williams, talk about being a part of that and continuing the greatness, like for Michael and all of the James Worthies and the teams that came before you to be one of those great teams and to actually get drafted with back-to-back in the top 10 and all of that type of stuff. Like y'all did historic stuff. How was that?
When you saw the players that had come through, right? It was important. And they hadn't won a championship since like 1982.
Right.
So it was like, that was part of my motivation of going there. I was like, man, we want to, get back on top. The thing is, they won a championship that spring, of our senior year. So it's like it kind of was a little bit deflating. And, quite honestly, I don't even know if I'd have gone there if that decision would have made after the championship again, because you want to be a part of, something happening that hadn't happened in a while. But it was crazy, man, when you saw Jordan and Perkins and all those great players that have come through there and went on to the next level. You felt like, okay, it was our opportunity to be next in line. But, we just brought a different type of swag, I thought, with our group. They hadn't really seen, kind of a brash, freshman coming in, expecting, felt like we should be playing. Even though they had won the national championship, we was going at their throat every day. So it was like, it was candid conversations. Like I'm knocking on Coach Smith's door, like, yo, man, I'm playing 18 minutes and getting 13. I feel like I need a few more minutes.
Yeah.
But he was like, you and Brian Reese, you guys should try to be the best small forward in the country together, and it'll make us a better team. In my mind, as an 18-year-old, I feel like I could be the best small forward in the country by myself. But it was just, again, learning how to share the floor with other good players, man. And that's what I preach now when I'm dealing with, young guys that's coming out of high school. They've been the best one or two players on their team, and now all of a sudden they got to fit in with other talented players. So it's a process for sure.
Like legendary Dean Smith, like right now as you coaching, you remembering a lot of stuff that Dean Smith was telling you and kind of trying to install in you when you was down there. Like, how is that?
Man, I just wanted to please him, man. I mean, that's been my MO with every coach that I had, because I feel like that's the way you get playing time. You do what the coach asks and do it at a high level. You're going to always be on the floor. And from year 1 through year 18, I found my way to be on the floor because I did what the coach wanted us to do. Well, now I'm teaching and the same thing, just the same principles, those same foundation and fundamental things that I learned back then. No middle, low man coming, defending and sharing, being unselfish offensively, making the extra pass, crediting the guy that had the hockey assist, what I'm saying? All those things, man, when you really understand the game, you understand it's more than just the guy that delivered, that put the ball in the hole, but other guys that did things to make that happen. So I try to echo his voice, and talking to our guys the same way.
It's clear that the education is something that's important to you. You just a salutatorian in high school, you know what I'm saying? You left school early, but you still earned your degree in African American studies a few years later while still being in the league and being a star in the league. How much of that, influences you to pour that into your players now, to teach them the importance of education, regardless of whether, guys leave early or not? And you are an example of that. There was a star player in college and when you first got to the league, but you earned your degree while being that all-star in the league, and because it was important to you.
Man, it really stemmed from me, man, making a promise when I left early, right? When I left early after my sophomore season, it was like I told Coach Smith and I told my mother that I was going to graduate, and I said that, and a lot of people thought it was fluff. Like, man, you about to go to the league, you ain't never going to
right.
But it was almost a perfect situation too, because I mean, getting drafted to Philadelphia, we was on bad teams, so we weren't making the playoffs. So I had plenty of time to get back and get into both summer sessions and everything, and I enjoyed it way more coming back than I really did when I was there, because I just felt like I was on a mission to try to get to the league, right, and get there, even though everything else was kind of ancillary to that. But now I was back. I was enjoying my classmates more. I had a little scooter. I had a little money in my pocket. So it was
right.
I enjoyed that, man. But it's important because if I didn't do those things, I didn't fulfill that promise to them, I couldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now. You don't have a degree, you can't coach in college. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You just limit yourself, right? You either possibly coaching in high school. I think it's probably, you got to have at least a high school diploma, you know what I'm saying, to be able to even coach in high school, it's something. But so I just think, man, I'm thankful that I sacrificed a little bit of time back then to be able to have these opportunities now. And I just think it's always a process to continue to try to improve yourself. It's the more we know, the better, the farther we can go. So I mean, I just, reading and just trying to better ourselves. I mean, one of the mentors that I had, that used to run the Players Association, Charles Grantham, his favorite saying was like, it's not your guy's fault what you don't know, right? When we come into the business of the NBA, we really, it's just about the game. We don't understand the billions of dollars that are generating and understanding that dynamic of it. And I didn't until I really kind of got involved in the Players Association a little bit further down in my career. Once, and it's like, man, I wish I'd have done that early on. So that's why I try to encourage guys once they get into the league, man, be that representative of your team so we can have, guys that can carry information. That's our problem when we go up against the league. We don't have that institutional knowledge of what has happened before us. And so I think we're always kind of at a disadvantage from a collective bargaining standpoint. So hopefully we figure that out one day, that we really need to reach back to those guys, Isaiah Thomas, people don't know that, man, we was given 15% of our contract before Isaiah came in and said, nah, that ain't happening no more, right? It was 4% max. I mean, he was the president when that stuff got done, stuff that we benefit from. And, we don't include those guys in the process going forward. It's important that we do that, because we're at a tricky time right now with our, Players Association, with everything that's going on. With this, the pandemic and them having the clause to be able to open the CBA back up and everything. The next few months could be really, really, really important for our players and our future.
Absolutely.
You get drafted to the 76ers. Was it anybody else you wanted to go to?
Man, I wanted to go one. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to go to Golden State, but I guess they already had Spree. But I had a hell of a workout out there, man. I went out there and killed it. Felt like I made every shot out there. At the time, before you guys came in and turned it out, the Clippers wasn't the destination to go. So I didn't want to go two. The Golden State had one, Clippers had two, and Philadelphia was three. I was like, man, I didn't miss any jumpers on purpose at the Clippers, but I just say it wasn't my best one.
Hey, listen. You talking about when we came around, they still weren't the destination. We didn't even work out for them. Our agent kept us away from them, and they still picked us anyway. So it was pretty much the same when we came through too.
Right. But now you think about it, man, just, LA and that market at that time, again, not understanding the business of basketball, you probably, even though it was Lakers town still, just being in that market, not that Philadelphia was a small market, still took advantage of it, some marketing and endorsement opportunities. When I signed with Fila, so it was like Philadelphia, so I had a nice play on it. But
right.
But I was going to a tough situation, man. A team that was in the midst of selling the team. The owner was selling the team, so it was a lot of just taking shortcuts, right? That for that whole year. I mean, I played with like 30 players, something crazy that year. But Lukey was bringing in. I mean, I'm telling you, everybody that he had in his centers and whatnot, he was giving those kids a chance. I mean, I love him for it, right? But, those guys, he gave them 10 days, that little 10 grand, 15 grand for a year, but it was just like a revolving door. So there wasn't any continuity until the next year when, they made the change.
Do you feel like Detroit is where you really kind of set your foot in the ground and kind of?
Yeah, man, it was like, because when we got there, that coincided with Allen getting drafted, in 96 again. And it's a whole new, pretty much the people that drafted me wasn't even there anymore. You know what I'm saying? John Lewis and, that whole front office was gone. And now it's the front office that, they drafted Allen Iverson. And we basically played the same position, man. Because even though he was 6 foot, he was a scorer, and I was a scorer.
Right.
And I wasn't about to relent one bit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we were one of the high scoring duos, but we didn't have a lot of around us. So I think when it came down to it, me going to Detroit and then being able to get Theo Ratliff and some other pieces around him, and me being able to give a Grant Hill and some other veterans, it really helped me. I mean, it showed me what being a pro is about, because I didn't really get that in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? We were just some young knuckleheads,
Yeah. It'd be like that. It'd be like the politics of the game. Some people don't know. Sometimes it's not even really what the player is doing. It's like just the politics of the game. Like you said, you got drafted, and everybody who drafted you or picked you is completely gone. And they up on the new person that's coming in. And then they'll completely forget about you. Not that you out there trashing the place up or you playing bad or nothing. It was just they on a whole new people, and they only include you in the politics of the game. You get sunk into it. Like when I got to Cleveland, like the owner was blind and he was selling the team, and it was just like the whole organization. I was like, man, I just left the Clippers, which is already one of the worst organizations there is. And then I get traded to a whole nother team that's just as bad and going through the same thing. I ain't never lost this much as I lost. Like,
hey, I won 18 my first year, bro. So I mean, that was like I didn't even want to come outside.
16 games out of 82. It's like we had every game. Like, man, what y'all doing after this? Like, it ain't even nothing to talk about. I ain't never lost like that.
Bro, I didn't even want to come out, y'all. I mean, like I said, I felt like if I was going out, everybody was looking at me like, man, it's like it's oblivious.
Right. You need to stay
out,
inside.
But I'm hiding, bro. I'm like, man, we are 15 and a million, man. I wore all of that because again, my talents had been attributed to the success that I had up to that point. In junior high school, college, whatever, we won. And I was a part of it. Now I'm still, I'm getting 20, but we're not winning, and we're in games just, I talk all the time, learning how to win. We just didn't know how to win, man. It got down to those last 3-4 minutes of the game, and it was just like, oh, here we go again, because we just didn't understand what we needed to do to win.
How was it when you got, all right, now you in Detroit and now you averaging 29.7, 0.3, like you averaging basically 30 ball. I remember this because I had to see some of that.
Q, you know what I'm saying, man? Like I said, I tell these folks, I ain't never had no problem getting no buckets, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think that was just one of those, it was because Grant Hill was there and Grant Hill left, right? We were this tandem. We had made the All-Star team, and obviously he left for Orlando. It was better, he wanted a different situation. So I was just kind of left there. Ben Wallace had came, and he was a dominant defensive player and dominant rebounder. And he would get an offensive rebound and handing that thing back to me. So I probably got some shots, possessions that I wasn't even supposed to get. And when I got going, man, those, I had Mo Cleese and, Chucky Atkins, those guys, man, they made it their business to find me. Michael Curry, he used to get me in so important to my guys like that used to work out. And even though he was starting at the small forward, he would get me ready for the game, as opposed to him working, trying to get his shot going or whatnot. Right. He would just go from different spots around me, making plays, stepping off, working on my shot. So they catered to my style that year. The next year was a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? It was fun, being able to score at that pace, but we weren't winning, right? We were 32 and 50. Next year Rick Carlisle comes in, And he was like, Stack, I want to put you in pick and roll more. Your numbers probably won't be the same. And I went down from 29 to 23, 24, but we were 50 and 32. So it just shows you that sometimes less is more. Even though I, put up big numbers that year, it didn't really translate to us having success. It's tough, man. It's so many things. We were just so hell bent on going to get a bucket. I missed a lot of people on the weak side, but that was just the mentality. We're seeing it right now. Ian was trying to go get 75 every night, and that's who we was trying to follow in his footsteps. So it's like, man, a lot of times you have blinders to where you were taking tougher shots than you need to, but that was just the way we played. And then once you get with better players, better coaching, and understanding the whole, man, we were, it won the Central Division. It was big time, man. Winning is the cure-all.
When you came up, of course, we all wanted to be MJ, but who else was you looking at and watching that game? It was like, man, I want to get some of that and put some of that in my.
I love James Worthy, bro. I mean, that was my man. Like really, because I played the 4. I never even played shooting guard until I was in the pros. Not in college. I played the 4-man at North Carolina, right? So
that's
it's
me
like,
too.
Yeah, man. So I didn't. Man, it was crazy when I was getting these comparisons coming into Michael Jordan. Oh, yeah, Michael Jordan, the guard. Where did they see that? They just see because I could, run fast, get out on the wing, and dunk. But I had to learn that position from a ball handling standpoint for pick and rolls and all that.
Once you got to the league,
I look back. I mean, I averaged about probably almost 4 turnovers my rookie year. I mean, they were lucky that I was only averaging 4.
Right.
But because 2 of them I was running over people, trying, get into that hole. I didn't even consider them charged a turnover. Like, man, you shouldn't have been in the way.
I don't know I know you got to remember. I can't remember whether it was 99, 2000, or 2000. It was one of them years, one of them summers. I was like, dog, this dude, I used to be like, yo, Stackhouse, this dude a baller. This man came over from Michigan on the boat with his 2 big boy whips on the boat and pull up the hoops for the couple weeks, but he didn't just came over on the boat. I was like, dog, I don't know how much me and my partners talked about that summer. We were so impressed, like, bruh, this man came up over here on the boat, brought the whips. He about to pull up for a few weeks and work out and hoop. I said, that is baller status.
I moved into the shot.
That's what I'm saying. I say that is baller status. This man came over here on a boat, about his partners, about the whips. We about to post up, hoop out, kick it, and do what we do. I say, yo, that boy is a baller.
Trying to show y'all young boys how to do that thing, man. But now I was, country boy from North Carolina, man. I always, dreamed about going to the beach, and you see all those boats out there, and I got in the boat kind of early. And so I got me a boat and brought it around from Detroit, and then I had a dually with a trailer that I put them big boys in the trailer and drive them wherever I wanted to go. Whether I was taking it to Miami, North Carolina, or shy for a couple weeks. There was some good run up at hoops. I was trying to find a run, right? So let's post up there for a week, man. But it's all about competing and playing, man. Those were some fun times. That's the first time I saw LeBron. Right. Then,
I was about to say, like, the hoops runs were so legendary, bro. I can remember when I first come in there as a young boy. Me and Corey, we fresh out of high school. We ain't even in college yet. TG bring us in there. You know how he do. It ain't no hiding. He picked the teams. He picked the matchups. He tell you got him, you got him. So first, however long, we up in there, me and Corey getting straight fired. We don't get to guard nobody but Mike Finley, you know what I'm saying? Scotty when he there, like real boys at the position. We like, man, when we gonna get to play against each other? I thought we was gonna guard each other some today. Like, you had us against all of the people we watch. You like, no, that's gonna get y'all ready. I'm like, man, me and Corey both used to think that, like, man, I think we gonna guard each other, right? Like, nah.
Saying young dudes, they was coming out. I remember them dudes coming up to the car, looking in the Bentley, the whole nine, Maverick and all those
That was when Twan had
America.
brought LeBron into hoops for a while. Twan had him up there. He was hanging with Twan heavy. But I definitely,
Yeah.
man, I remember that about you bringing them whips. I was one of the young boys looking like, man, look at this. Like, we can't see nothing like this on our first deal. We got to wait till we get some big money like Stack.
PJ Tucker, when he used to go to Summer League in North Carolina, he's like, man, that was my motivation, man. We used to run up to the car. So I was glad to be able to lead the way a little bit.
Bro, from that summer on, your nickname was Stack Dollar to all us and all my homeboys. Let me ask you this. You said everybody's sitting here watching The Last Dance. What's your perspective on it?
Man, it shows that it's some different ways to be great. Mike was great from the standpoint that he just pushed everybody and pushed himself, found so many different challenges, made up challenges, to
right.
motivate. He got to the point where, but again, he had to get there. Like Isaiah and them boys, they used to, tap on his ass, all of them. Like, so they couldn't beat him.
Yeah.
He was having all those big games, Boston. They were still winning. And then he eventually got to that point, worked his way up there, got, the supporting cast around him. Scotty being there was huge. But it was tough, man. Some of those tough moments, man, when you just see, when you calling like Scotty selfish, when Scotty making $3 million and you making 36, like, oh man, it just like, how can, and this is his man's, it's my man's in them. It's like, you're almost to the point where he's like, damn, man, we need to rework this to give him some of what I'm getting. But it's like, damn, he's been a part of this thing. But again, that's having the right representation and it's always important too. But man, it's so many different factors. I mean, the competitiveness, that's that one segment with the Dream Team when him and Magic was going at it. Magic was throwing the ball in the stands, how competitive it got in there, man. I could watch that 100 times in a row just to see how they interacted, and it got so competitive that nobody was talking, but you see Magic's leadership. Once they get back on the bus, everybody quiet, and then all of a sudden Magic say something like, I guess we should be, and then it just cracks it, and then they go on and do what they're supposed to do. But that's just his charisma, man, knew that it was something that needed to been said right now. M probably would have been like, all right, man, I ain't saying nothing the whole ride, right? and good with it, ain't got no problem. But so it just shows that there's different ways to be great. I think Magic was great because he was dramatic and reached and touched everybody, and M was, he alienated some teammates or whatnot, but it was all part of, if you're a LeBron fan, you don't like it because LeBron is he's gonna pass. He gonna pass it. If it comes to he's gonna make the right play. M is gonna take that shot. So I just it's different perspectives, and I think it's great that we don't have sports right now that we can have something to debate like that.
You seeing Jordan how he was back in them Bulls days, and when you played with Jordan with the Wizards, do you see like, oh, all right, I can understand why he was that way when he played with the Wizards?
Man, it was a different Jordan when he came back, after came back to the Wizards. It was just different. Like, we were damn near, in awe of him, in the 90s, those first 3 championships, right? And then when he took the little hiatus and when he came back, he kind of lost a little bit of, even though they still won 3 in a row again, it lost a little bit of that, okay, we feel like we can play and compete with him a little bit more. And then when he left that last time and came back, it's like, oh, no, it's a new game now, and even though he was still effective and doing different things, people don't understand. I always talk about, I got traded to Washington. The reason I got traded to Washington because I bust their ass so much that year before, him and Rip Hamilton. I'm saying? We beat him 4 straight times. Go back and look at that stats. That's why they wanted me on that team. It's like how he's traded a young Rip for shouldn't have never traded. Man, I was busting Rip ass. So it was like
right.
It wasn't even at that point. Yeah, he went to Detroit and they some magical things. We had already built the foundation there. And, they get Sheed. Somehow they just hand the Detroit Pistons, Rasheed Wallace. You know,
and
long seeing everything. I mean, come on, man. You know, that was crazy.
That was it right there, too.
So my mindset was like, man, I thought I was coming in to kind of be the guy, and Mike was on his way out. But Mike was coming in like, nah, this is not how I want to go out, you know. And to the point of where, you know, we had an offense. He changed that offense. You know, Doug's like, man, we need to slow this thing down, pump this thing to me in the post a little bit, play. But it's Mike. But again, for me, you know, and it came out wrong. I think when I said that, like I felt like I was a better player than Michael Jordan. You know, and that sounds crazy, right? You know, Michael Jordan, the greatest player, but at that time, I was better suited to carry that team. I was 29, and I just showed you the year before that, you know, without you or we. Hey, go back and watch that tape, man. The tape don't lie. So. Yeah. So it's just a different thing, and we, you know, kind of, you know, we work well together. We tiptoed around each other, man, because we were alphas. You know what I'm saying? I didn't, you know, we was like, man, he stayed in his space, but it was just some of the things that I saw, man, with our younger guys, that was like, man, you know, when we had success, it was, you know, when we didn't have success, it was they, you know, and it wasn't at me, you know. I mean, I didn't have no problems. You know what it was. I mean, I'm gonna always stand up for myself, but you know, just seeing it, and you know, you hear about it. Like we hearing about what's going on in the Chicago Bulls, and it seems like it's all right. It's entertaining right now. But if you're right in the middle of it, it's like, you know, that ain't really cool. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. And then it's just kind of like a traveling circus. It's Mike's last year. You know, and so a lot of different factors.
Yeah, everywhere was crazy. It was crazy.
Man, we're in the second round of the playoffs, and I'm with a team talking about making the playoffs for the first time in 9 or 10 years. So, yeah, I didn't necessarily want to be there. You know what I'm saying? Even though it was, you know, cool, the thought of playing with Michael Jordan for that year, that I was going to be able to pick his brain, but it just felt like it was somewhat adversarial. We had been like competitors so long that it just didn't flow.
Didn't feel right.
Like in order for if I was being featured, then he was standing and he was a spot up shooter, not a spot up shooter. If Mike was being posted, then I was standing as a spot up shooter. At that point in my career, I didn't want to be a spot up shooter, or didn't feel like I should be a spot up shooter. So it was just, man, a dynamic and a fit that didn't work. But it loses. I mean, I got no problem in still saying that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, and the impact that he had on all of us. You know, wanting to go to the basket and finish and dunk and do all of those type of things. We got a lot of that, you know, from him, and you can't take that away from him.
Who instilled the game in you? Like, you hard-nosed, you tough, you get buckets, like, you well respected. Like, you gonna demand respect. Like, who put that in you?
My brothers. I mean, I'm the youngest of 8 boys, right? And they all played at a certain level. But my closest brother, my brother Tony, you probably seen him with me. You know, he was probably 6 years older than me. He played overseas. He played overseas for 15 years. But man, he's the best scorer that I've ever seen, right? So I mean, and I've seen all type of, you know, Jordan and all of that. But anybody that played against him, and you ask him about Tony Dawson and what he can do on the basketball court when it comes to scoring. And I mean, it's telling you, guys that were supposed to be real defenders, you know, they got it. So it was like, you know, we couldn't even play against each other. I mean, we just straight start fighting, man. My mama had to make us stop playing against each other because, you know, I was getting to that point in high school, you know, because he was already, you know, in college playing overseas, and man, they was calling, you know, people talking to him, talking about, man, your brother coming. And he's like, man, whatever. So whenever he'd come back home, that was my big test, you know. And my brother, my next brother too, he used to come back home. And I always challenged myself against him, and man, he would, you know, I would have some success, and then all of a sudden he started putting it on me. You know what I'm saying? I was going in the house crying, like, you started playing like a man. You're like, that's what you supposed to be playing like a man. And I think that just instilled in me, man. I feel like if I could beat them dudes, you know, it wasn't another high schooler my age, another college player my age, or when I got to the pros, it would, you know, even I might not have had the best jump shot or the best crossover, but you was gonna battle with me. You know what I'm saying? I think that's all you want, the respect of you guys. You know, it's like they know when they came to see me, what, you know, you're gonna have to strap it up for sure.
That's the same way we feel. Like whether you're an all-star or not, you know, when you look across at your opponent, I got his respect. It don't really matter about not a fan or nobody else in there. When we got the respect of our peers, that's what it's about.
Every night, man, when you think about it, there's so many guys that you kind of, you know, don't really get the notoriety or the credit of the great players. When you talk about, you know, like Allen Houston and, you know, Eddie Jones, you know, every night Mitch Richmond. Every night it was somebody like a name that a lot of people probably don't know. Bobby Fields. Bobby Fields gave me more problems than anybody because he could guard on the post, he could guard
strong.
on the perimeter.
I be telling folks about Monster Mash. Mash used to work.
Oh,
come on, man. You asked me who was the first one to bust my ass. Who was the first one to bust your ass when you got in the league?
Weber jump hooked my ass like a whole game. And I tried to time it. I tried to get it. I tried to front him. I tried to do everything. And he jump hooked me for about 36. And I felt like the whole 36 was on me.
Who was it with you, Q?
This was the first time I ever got to start. It was a preseason game in Denver. But Sean Leonard gave me 17 in the first 6 minutes. I wasn't respected. I'm like, man, for Sean Leonard, man, I'm about to, you know what I'm saying? He ain't one of them. I'm about to, 6 minutes into it. Between the altitude and him with his game, I was done.
Man, hey, he could get hot now, you know, because he was down. That's probably after he was in Miami, right? Because he was in Miami first. You know what I'm saying? Down there with Pat Riley. Pat Riley had them boys fouling everybody hard. About ready to go to blows with them boys every time you go to the line.
You came up in the era where physicality was like one of the options, and like, you're gonna play hard, it's gonna be real physical. Now today they don't really let you touch as much. They don't really concentrate much on defense or give defenders too much chance on stopping somebody. Like, so what you think about from that game to now game?
I think the eras are different, right? It's just a different style now, where the guys are utilizing the three-way, way more than we did. I mean, it was like, man, you took 7 threes in the game. It's like, what is going on? So you need to drive to the basket. Now it's, that people average shooting 7 threes a game. But
man, in the first half.
In the first half, exactly. Like, look at James and what he doing, man. That's crazy, and it's fun to watch. Like, people say what they want to, yeah. I mean, we like that physical style, but if they were as lax and not, allowing straight line drives now, man, I was shooting 10, 11 free throws back then. Imagine how many free throws I would have been shooting.
Exactly,
or getting there and getting something easy, man. So it's a different game, a different time, the spacing. I don't know when you guys got there where you had to be lifted, right?
Yeah, you had to be on your man at the top.
Yeah, man. Like, come on, you can sit there and just dance all day, step off with guys and whatnot. You see, 2 guys up there, so you pretty much playing one-on-one, and then by the time got there, they were too late, man. So it was, but man, I got the tail end of that kind of 2012, where it was about the 3, and then at that point I was a spot up corner shooter anyway. So it's like I got all 3 of those eras, man. I think being able to catch the tail end of Mike, Kobe, and then being able to see LeBron kind of carry it from there. So it's I was fortunate to play in all 3 of those eras.
How do you, like, right now, you as a college coach, right? I feel like you one of the type of dudes that could still get out there. You could do a little. I mean, you ain't gonna go too far, but you could still hoop with them. And so for you to be able to, like you just said, you played in all 3 of them eras, and you traditionally an old school, tough, physical guy. How do you translate and pour into them what you know?
Well, man, it's like do what I say, not what I do, because I'm gonna get down here and get on this block and take some of these mid-range jumpers, but I don't want you taking as many of them.
Right.
Like, get to the paint, right? Get it more of a high percentage shot or spread. even with the three, instead of taking the one dribble pull up, which we always worked on, like you would take a three, one dribble pull up right, one dribble pull up left. Right now, it's more about a sidestep, shot fake, sidestep, stay behind the line, get more money. And again, like it's just a different time, man. Like I wouldn't like my game, right now, in this era, wanting to be off, off the block a little bit in that mid post area, getting to, trying to get to the lane, pull up, long twos. We thought nothing about it at the time. We take a dribble, maybe sidestep, foot might even be on the line, and you always, people would say that's the worst shot in basketball. It is really literally the worst shot in basketball because even if you make it 2 more inches and we got another point on the board. So the analytics play a huge part in it, in some of my thinking now. But at the same time, it's about taking advantage of personnel. If I get a guy that can go down on, can wear your ass out on the block, I'm going to punch it into him. We're going to split and we're going to do that. But if we don't have that type of guy, then we're going to play 5 out, put that big up top, let him DHO each way, play out of that delay action. And I just think it opens up the floor and creates more opportunity in today's game. And that's what we want to teach. All these kids have aspirations of playing at that next level. So I think the good thing for me is that's where I come from. The last few years, coaching in the G League, coaching with the Raptors, that I saw the game, and I think we were ahead of the game. You see, the things that we were doing, and it works. And the world champions right now, and I think we all kind of had a hand in, how they play and the style that we play.
Like, at what point did you figure out, like, man, I might want to coach? Like, when did you, did you decide, or did you know that this is something that I want to do and I got a passion for?
Well, I mean, I think I always, like, as I got older, like I played forever, right? And so when I got older, in Dallas, Avery used to, like, that guy, I'm tired of these guys. I know they're tired of hearing my voice, run film session, today. All right. So then I got just that, being able to understand the game and see the game and how and the things. And that was the best team that I was on. Went to the finals, lost to Miami in the finals in 2006. But just the way we approach things, and from that, I think I was going to watch my son play. I think he was 7th, 8th grade, going to AAU game. I was, back home, and they was just, man, they was ragtag basketball. I couldn't watch it. I was like, man, I could do something with this group. So I took that team, those guys, and started working out with them, and I started my AAU program from there. So from there, man, I got to they asked me to coach the All-Star team. We started kicking everybody's ass on the Adidas circuit to where they asked me to take the All-Star team to Treviso, Italy, where, all of the GMs and the owners and everybody at for the summer. There I see Masai see me on the sideline working, coaching. And he was like, call me. I interviewed with Coach Casey. Coach Casey was like, come on, what I'm saying? So I got on. And, 1 year I was behind the bench with the Raptors, just working, grinding with the Norman Powells, all the young players. And the next year came with Jesse Murmurs took the job in LA, and it was the opening for the G League. Asked me to coach the G League. So I took it. And it was like, people were saying, man, you're close, just stay on the assistant. I felt like, no matter what happened, I was always going to have that tag of not having head coaching experience. So even though some folks felt like I took a step back, I actually took, once I did that and went to the G League and won a G League championship and went back to the finals, the second year, it's like, damn, this boy now, that catapulted me in front of a lot of guys as far as being one of those next guys on the list for head coaching job. I interviewed, 2 or 3 jobs. I didn't expect to get it that first year. And then that next year, before I could really get into that process again, Vanderbilt reached out to me, the president of the G League, who had saw me, really develop, those young guys, how the G League go. You got guys coming up and down, and you still able to win consistently and have a style. He had an eye for that. And he's like, man, this is what we need at this university. We may not get all of the 5-star talent, but we got to be able to develop them. So this was a good fit. And I didn't know, I probably would have got some interviews and whatnot, but man, I was ready to get back to my element, even though being an assistant coach is cool. And I worked for JV Bickerstaff in Memphis after I left Toronto. but ain't nothing like running your own thing. You know, I like to make decisions, and I had an opportunity to get right back into making decisions by coming to college. And man, I love it. I mean, I love being able to work with the younger group. I mean, because I probably, even though I love working with pros, man, because they get better too. But it's something about seeing that kind of raw young talent. So I mean, I really enjoy the grassroots. So now this puts me even closer to those guys. My ties from my AU helps with recruiting because I know a lot of those guys, especially in this market, kind of being in the Southeast Conference, being in Georgia, being from North Carolina. I didn't really know a lot about the SEC Conference coming from the ACC. It's some rich history of Vanderbilt and, beating the Kentuckys and beating the Tennessees. So just understanding that we got an opportunity to get back to that. They asked me to do it, man. And I'm just thankful that God have, put this in this position. It's not as many African-American brothers that's able to say that they're head coach of a Power 5 school. And I don't take that charge lightly at all, Q, at all.
I love the fact that, guys like you, Jawan, Penny, and Pat, big OG Pat, we talked to him the other day. I love that y'all, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not a lot of players, like you say, we don't get the opportunity, but everybody can't do it too. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody can't coach. Everybody can't retain that information and be like, I tell Drew Gooden that a lot, cause we neighbors and I feel like he could coach. Like when we watch games and we talk about stuff in the way, you know how it is. You play with teammates and different guys, and it's only all of us can't just step off the court and then still teach everything that we know and give that knowledge and be able to articulate it. So for me to see y'all guys, like I know if I'm coming out of high school, like and one of y'all, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, that's a dude that literally did it. He did what I want to do to the highest level. Like when you look at a you, a Pat, a Penn, any of those guys, like y'all have done it. Because everybody who playing basketball, they want to make it to the NBA. I don't care what they say. Everybody, they want to make it to the league. That's their goal. That's why they want to go and pick their college and do all this. So if I'm looking, I'm not saying this, of course, it's not the only way. But for me, that would be my preference to choose to go for. I want to go for and play for somebody who played, who did it, who sat in them seats, who know what it takes. Not something. I'm not knocking anybody else, but I'm just saying, me personally, that's what I would want to know. Because certain people can't tell you. You know what I'm saying? Certain people who didn't do what Jerry Stackhouse, you played 19 years in the league. If they didn't make the NBA, they can't speak on certain things that you can. And you know what that is, and you can articulate it different than anybody who hasn't can. I don't care what nobody says. There's certain things that we privileged to because we were in those seats. We did this with everything from the plane to the draft to anything you want to talk about that we are privy to. Only us. Nobody else can speak on that. And you got that knowledge to give to them. And that's, to me, that's what, if I'm coming out and it's a pool growing of them, that's who I'm looking for. I'm looking for one of those power, like you say, you at a Power 5 school, you a young dude who ain't, you know what I'm saying, you not like crazy, you can relate, you done coached AAU, you done coached in the G League and the NBA, and you played. That check every box I need to know about.
You old, but you ain't crazy old.
No. I still get out there, man. I think that's the beauty of it. That not only can I show them what to do. I mean, I can tell them what to do. I can show them what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I said, I ain't going to go up and play a whole quarter, but in this shell drill, I'm going to get some buckets in this shell drill.
Hey, close out short if you want to. Close out short if you want to.
How is the quarantine for you and your team, and like how's the process on recruiting?
A lot of this, just being able to get in front of kids this way. As far as our guys, it was just the focus with them was just getting them through the semester. Everything came to just a abrupt halt right after the SEC tournament. We were actually the last game in the SEC tournament. Then they canceled. So guys were just took off. They weren't able to get stuff out of the dorms or any of that stuff. So, but we just been communicating with them, man, trying to stay on them about staying in the gym, because we're gonna come out of this at some point and make sure that you're ready. And fortunately for our guys, they got access to gyms. We got our nutritionist and our strength and conditioning coach. He's still able to reach out to them, the training staff. So we're in a good spot. I try to talk to them probably bi-weekly, every couple of weeks, just making sure that they're reaching out to them, making sure that everybody's good. But man, we were on a really good uptick. How we finished the season, so it's kind of disappointing that we weren't able to carry that right into the summer. But it is what it is. Those challenges are for everybody. Like, it's not like we're at a disadvantage. Nobody's able to recruit. We've had some signings of some guy that never came to campus, because he wasn't able to come to campus. He was scheduled to come in the spring, wasn't able to make it, but was still signed with us. So, I think our staff did a really good job of, making the most of this situation and still being able to, again, talk to them, look at them as like we're looking at each other right now. And I think they can see that sincerity of what we're trying to, what we can offer for them and how we can help them.
Did you guys have any seniors on your teams? And if so, what are you telling those people that lose the opportunity to play in the tournament and the whole one shining moment? A lot of kids grow up with those aspirations. They want to play in the NCAA tournament. That's a big dream. What's gonna happen for those guys that were seniors and those girls, everybody that all the kids that were seniors this year that didn't get to play in the tournaments and the respective sports and things like that?
Fortunately for us, man, that we only had one guy, and he had a medical red shirt. So he
Okay.
got early in the year, so he was granted a medical red shirt, so he's going to come back. But it is disheartening, man, to some of these kids that have waited for that the opportunity to play in, and were having great years and wanted to try to showcase that, because, people don't understand. Like 85% of the people that have gotten drafted, out of the last probably 400 players, played in that tournament. So it's
Yep.
like that's your showcase of, and those kids didn't get it. And it's just, March Madness is so important to college basketball and college universities in general. It provides so much revenue for all of the other sports. So, it would be, catastrophic if we're not able to have March Madness again. I mean, and college football as well. I think the SEC football is a big, big money maker. It's its own entity, but man, March Madness, I think, we're hopefully it'll be tough because the gate is important. Unlike the NBA, it's like you got TV deals and all of that. But in college sports, the gate is actually important. So it's going to have some drastic effects, man, on universities, and put a really strain on financial budgets. So everybody's trying to scale back and just kind of be as diligent as possible when you're looking at finances and spending right now, hirings and all those type of things, man. So it's important.
If you had to pick 4 other players that you done played with in your career to play with you, who would be the 4 players? No matter what team or whatever, just 4 other players that you done played with, who would be the 4 players?
Okay, it'd be LeBron, Ben Wallace, Dirk, Dwayne Wade, and Jason Terry.
Okay,
The
Jets.
Shout out to my man, the Jets.
Do you remember the first person you dunked on when you was in the league?
The first body.
First body might have been Olden Polynice.
Olden Polynice.
OP, we played with OP.
You see how you said a 7-footer.
Here you go.
Q time out, man. First person I dunked on was Mookie Blaylock. He bragging about. You need to skip
Hey, Stack.
Mookie.
First of all, Stack. I call myself. I consider myself to be a truth teller, right? So the first person you dunked on is who it is. You can't. I mean, I wish it could have been Sean Bradley or something. It just wasn't. I dunked on Sean Bradley before, but he wasn't the first.
Right. It might have been the guard out there that I caught too that I ain't even mention him either.
But you supposed to skip the guard though, Zach. You supposed to skip the guard. You supposed to skip Mookie. You don't supposed to tell nobody else it was Mookie Blaylock.
Especially him being a big guard anyway, right? They already talking about them big guards.
You supposed to dunk on Mookie. What you mean?
Wow, you want to know what else too? I remember the first person to dunk on me, and I remember whose fault it was. This guy next to me, his fault. Glenn Big Dog Robinson caught a lob on me, and he pushed me into it. He pushed me. 2 hands, my own brother.
You know how somebody don't play defense and you push them?
Trying to get him to his rotation. He should have been over there
his rotation.
Anyway,
I OG'd him. You know, he don't play no defense at all. So I tried to push him, into the defense spot.
And that's your boy. I know that's right.
I know what I want to ask, cause you stack dollar, right? So when you first got the bag, I like to ask the question, what did you do with, like, somewhere you was like, in that moment as a young boy, you was like, I'm doing this, but then like now you like, I shouldn't have did that, but it meant everything back then. Whether it was a whip, some jewels, what was
house,
it?
Man. You know what I'm saying? It was my mama's house. You know what I'm saying? Buying my mama's house, but that was important to me for me personally. I had already got that stuff, you know what I'm saying, the range and all of that. It's just about paying it back. You know what I'm saying? I got out there like, okay, y'all know I'm good for it. I'm coming there. I done walked up in the dealership like, yo, come on, I'm good for it. Y'all see this draft status. But I got it right away.
Did you own your own truck and used to ship your own cars?
Yeah. I had a dually and a trailer.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm telling you, stack dollar, bro.
Man. You need to get your own truck, man. You ship your own car instead of paying them folks.
This is what I'm telling you, stack dollar, bro.
When he left, my homie drove it. My homie Malcolm,
exactly, bro. When I'm telling you, that summer when he left, it was legendary, bro. Like, this man pulled up. First, he came over on the boat. Then he got his whips coming on his own truck with his partner, just bringing it over. It's about to be all the partners just linking up. Y'all coming on the truck, we coming on the boat. We about to meet right here. We about to kick it. I say, yo, this is stack dollar, bro.
Being young and dumb, boy, you learn, man. But we had,
you live and you learn.
Fun though.
You live and you learn. It was fun.
Man, I just want to continue to go out of my way to salute you, because you mentioned something earlier that made me kind of think about it when we was talking about, you being a coach at school, being and played, and what you doing and what you represent, man, is major and is needed as an African American that look like us, that's one of us, that come from where we come from, that accomplished and achieved everything that you achieved, on and off the court, with the way you represent yourself as a man. Not only with you, you know what I'm saying, you made dumb money, you was all-stars, you hooped out, but like more the man you are off the court, you know what I'm saying? From afar, I saw you, I watched you, I looked up, I always said, Stack, you know what I'm saying? Even from being younger, even from competing against you, it was somebody who was like, nah, he a solid dude, he handled his business, he moved the right way. And now to see you, you know what I'm saying, being at Vanderbilt, coaching and recruiting kids and being in that world, even from when you had your AU team, because I remember that too. And I thought that was dope, you know what I'm saying? That just to see somebody like you at the level you had achieved, that you was going to be willing to, you really coached. It wasn't like, I just got an AU program. You know how some people get programs and then they got that people like, I was like, Stack really is the guy. Like, and then to see you go and continue to do it, I just want to make sure that we give you your flowers while we got you on here, and that everybody really understand that what you're doing is huge and it's major, and it's not a lot of us being able to do it at the, you know what I'm saying, at the level that you able to do it to. So I just wish nothing but continued success, man, championships and moving up the college ranks, and eventually if you want to be in the league coaching, you deserve that too, and I hope you get it, bro, for real.
I appreciate you, and likewise, man. Like I said, I don't take this opportunity for granted at all, and like for you guys, I look at you and I admire how you guys been able to take your guys' platform and do what you're doing right now too, man. Transition and, you know what I'm saying, thinking ahead and being able to transition from playing to having a platform like you guys have right now, man. I'm proud of you guys. Well, this kid right here, every time I would see him, he always had a bunch of candy in his pocket. So I was just like, yo,
that's him, the candy man.
Every time I say, give me some candy, man. So it's just like, when I see y'all, man, it's the feeling's mutual, man. I love y'all boys. We hope y'all keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate that, bro. Super dope having our OG Stack Dollar in the building, man. Superstar in the league, all-star, one of the all-time greats, and now head coach at Vanderbilt University. Appreciate having you, OG.
Appreciate y'all guys having me too, man. Much love to y'all.